One of my many dreams, and I will not stop until I obtain this reality, until I manifest it, but one of my dreams is to have my own homestead with a fucking fruit orchard on it with multiple trees, you guys, multiple fruit trees, the most delicious varieties of trees. I'm talking multiple different types of peaches, nectarines, plums, apples of all varieties, pears, charamoyas. You guys ever had a ripe charamoya? That is one of the most delicious foods available. A ripe charamoya, you guys. They are like condensed nectar. They're expensive as hell, but they are, in my opinion, worth it. I haven't seen them out here in Virginia. Back in California, though, there was a point where they were over $12 a pound, and you can easily have a fruit that's over 2 pounds. So it's a little ridiculous, right? The price. From time to time, I would go to Asian markets, and they'd be on sale, and I would get big old bags of them. That is the most delicious fruit. I've always dreamt of having multiple charamoya trees. I want cherry trees. I want blueberries, raspberries, black raspberries, golden raspberries. Fucking A. Like that to me is paradise, you guys. Living away from the fucking masses that live in these Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 stack and pack housing, developments. I want nothing to do with that. I think it's insane. I think that the way that most people live is absolutely backwards, and I think that it does not get questioned enough. We learn to think that city living and city dwelling, living in these overly populated areas is natural. It's crazy. Where I'm from in California, you guys, there's stretches of housing developments where the backyard is like the size of a closet. You're right on top of your neighbor. Right on top. And I get it. Some people like living like that. If that's your thing, all the power to you. But I want nothing to do with it, you guys, because the older I get, the wiser I get. And the wiser I get, the more I separate myself from the mainstream consensus of which people are just blissfully wrapped up in this ignorant way of living. In my opinion, it's ignorant. It's dangerous. And again, I want nothing to do with it. So quietude to me is a rare commodity in a world of noise, a world of constant static, where we're being bombarded with information from pretty much every angle. We've got wireless pollution, electromagnetics, 5G. There's a fucking internet network everywhere nowadays. Even in this remote area that I currently live in here in Virginia, if I walk down the road and turn my wireless networks on, there's like 7 different networks that if I had the password to, I could sign in. So like in your home, usually, you guys, if you open up your networks on your phone, you can usually see your neighbors, multiple neighbors' networks. They're wirelessly communicating all the way through the walls of your house into your home. If you had the password, you could log in. So, and that's just one thing, you guys. And we know that wireless networks, they affect the cells. They affect the cytoplasm of the cells, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the mitochondria, the organelles of your cells, you name it. So it's odd to me that as technology gets more advanced, humans seem to get more insane. There's more crime now and strange, abhorrent behavior than there ever has been, in my opinion. Like, it's just crazy what people are doing. We've lost our minds. Something is broken, you guys. This earth was designed to be a paradise, but it's been fractured. It's been fractured. And it's been hijacked by a small majority of the wrong people that at one point in time managed to get all of the leverage, the resources, you name it. And they've set up their 1,000-headed hydra system, and we all live in it now. And most people don't even question it. They don't bat an eye at it. They love it. So, but again, imagine you guys having multiple acres with a nice little homestead on it, right? Away from people. And on that plot of land, you have whatever your favorite fruit trees are. It is so blissful to get a baby fruit tree and to take care of it and watch it grow. And the rewards that you reap when that tree finally starts producing fruit, it is such a nourishing thing to the soul, you guys, to take care of things and watch them grow, right? Growing food is an act of patience. It's the epitome of you reap what you sow. So regardless of your living situation right now, I suggest that you start growing things. You can grow trees in pots, right? You can grow them in cloth pots, large pots, pots with handles on them. And then when you finally do get a plot of land, you can transplant it right into the ground. Beautiful. Like to my right now, I've got a blackberry in a small pot. and it produces fruit. I'm doing an experiment. I'm keeping that in that pot. I want to see how big it can get. But when I have the ability to, I'm going to transplant it into the ground. On top of that, you guys, there's mile after mile of black raspberries, wild black raspberries growing along the abandoned railroad across the street. So the genetics of those plants are far superior to like a raspberry bush that you're going to get from Lowe's or Home Depot, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bunch of cuttings and put them in pots and grow them, because I'm telling you right now, you guys, those wild black raspberries are 100,000 times more satiating and nourishing than any fruit you're going to buy from the store. I am amazed at how much energy those black raspberries have given me. I only have probably 6 cups of them left frozen in the freezer, but my God, I could have a venom shake with 5 raw eggs in it and a handful of those berries and not want to eat for another 24 hours. It's that energetic. It's that satiating. You see, wild foods stimulate the energy body and the physical body in ways that no store-bought or even homegrown fruit can ever do, or homegrown food in general. It's incredible how strong wild food is, because it carries with it the intelligence of the land in which it grew or grows, right? So these black raspberries have never been hit with pesticides, herbicides, etc. They have just grown organically, and they're being fed water from the creek that they grow next to, and the water's full of rocks and minerals, you name it. It's being fed restructured water. You see, nature's design is brilliant, you guys. I apologize for the loud, obnoxious vehicle that you guys are probably going to hear here in a second. But again, it's all restructured water. Do you really think that how would I explain this? Do you really think that the black raspberries from the store were fed restructured water? No, they're being fed chlorinated water full of disinfectant byproducts, algicides, and in many cases, atrazine, you guys, a herbicide that does devastating damage to organisms that consume it. And we know that through a lot of really prestigious research, that atrazine is something that should not be in the human organism. And if you look at many municipal tap water supplies across the United States, they are finding inordinate amounts of atrazine. The second I start recording, people have got to start making noise. It's bizarre. This always happens. Hi, Alice. So I've got 2 of my cats on the side yard right now to give them some outside time. And I figured I'd knock a video out. But I want you guys to, what is your dream? What is the vision of your ideal life? Because we should all be taking daily steps to obtaining that ideal version of our lives. I've said it in many of my videos that most of us have the life that we're currently living, and then we have an ideal life that we wish we could have. But we should be taking steps daily to obtaining the life that we desire. What do you have to lose by doing that, right? What do you have to lose by making changes in your life to attempt to manifest a better life, right? I think many people are attempting to manifest the wrong things. I think that greed is the operating system of many people. To me, I think that the first thing that you should be seeking to manifest is a sane, lucid mind in a world of mediocrity and insanity, right? Because once you clean your mind and you develop or create a sense of lucidity and sanity, you'll know what's most important in life. A lot of times people want things that they do not need. So your needs should be your wants and your wants should be your needs. At least that's how I look at it, right? I think that's a very healthy approach. But for me, I know that the greatest thing for me personally is to have an orchard, because as I continue to stay on this diet, this meat, fruit, venom, supplements, flower essences, etc. diet that I'm forging, the more I stay on this diet, the stronger I get, you guys, the more energetic I get, and the more I want to use this diet to help people. So I'd like to create a homestead / orchard that's also a retreat at some point in time, where people can come out and stay on the retreat, and I can show them the ropes of how to live like this. Because if it can help me in the way that it has, I just know in my heart that it can help other people. This is the strongest way of eating and living that I've ever engaged with, And I've been around the block, you guys. I've been doing this for over 15 years, experimenting with various diets and detoxes and cleanses, you name it. It took over 15 years of daily effort to find what I'm currently doing, and it has worked. It has done so much transmogrifying to my life in such a short period of time. And I've been doing this for a long time, but given the amount of time, even though I've been doing it for a good, decent chunk of time, the amount of development that I've had from it is 10,000 fold more intense than the amount of time that I've been on it. Does that make sense? That's how strong it is. It's allowing me to obtain months and or years of growth in a fraction of the time. And to me, after years of experimenting, after years of being very strict about various diets that I've been on, I know that this one works the best because I've never had this type of emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical upliftment from a food source. So food isn't everything, you guys, but it is a big piece to the puzzle here. It is. And it's not so much always what you eat, it's what you don't eat. It's what you don't eat. Unfortunately, a good portion of the standard American diet is processed, refined carbohydrates, and they set this up intentionally because they know that most people live paycheck to paycheck, and when you live like that, you guys, you end up buying foods that are affordable, and unfortunately, the most affordable foods nowadays are often the shittiest. I've found loopholes in that, however. Again, when there's a will, there's a way. There's almost always a loophole in the matrix. I've found a very affordable way of eating on the diet that I'm currently on for a fraction of, it's just as expensive as the standard American diet for people who are living paycheck to paycheck. I've found a very affordable way to do this. It's not the most optimal because you want to be eating the highest quality meat that you can get and the best fruit. But again, when there's a will, there's a way. Sometimes you have to go into what I call survival mode. And you've got to really closely watch your finances. But even if you're eating these cheaper cuts of meat and these cheaper fruits, etc., it's still 100,000 times better for you than all the processed nonsense and the garbage. And the more you stay on this healthy way of eating, the more things will open up for you, opportunities will open up for you. So if you're in a bind right now financially, and you can't, for instance, afford the best cuts of meat, just stay on the system, don't give up, use your magic, and over a period of time, as you stay on this system, your will naturally align things for you, and more opportunities will open up for you. I told this story, I think, here on YouTube about how a while ago, while I was still in what I call survival mode, I had reached this point of just feeling like, it's like, fuck, I need resources. I need to get some better cuts of meat, etc. And I just don't have the money right now. And later on that day, someone that I know ended up giving me a chest freezer full. It wasn't full of meat, but there was a ton of meat in it. This individual was moving out of Virginia to a different state and didn't want to bring this chest freezer with her, with all these, there was a bunch of other groceries in there too, a bunch of garbage. I ended up getting rid of it. But regardless, there was quite a bit of meat in there. And I lived on that for probably a week and a half, 2 weeks before it was all gone. So opportunities can open for you, especially if you're coupling a healthy lifestyle with using magic, financial magic, you name it. Road opener magic, as they call it in hoodoo, you name it. So again, guys, it's all about just staying on the system and not finding excuses to go off of it. Regardless of what diet you're on, you guys, if it's working for you, you should stay on it. All I'm just going to say is that for me personally, I've done so much experimentation. I've had so much time to gauge what works and what doesn't. And this way of eating works undeniably the strongest. And what I'll do is I eat nothing but meat and fruit as my macronutrients, but there's times where I'll back off of the fruit and dip into a very low carb, ketogenic, ketovore and or carnivore diet, a zero carb diet. I'll go into that for a while to get the therapeutic benefit from it, and then I'll start slowly reintroducing the fruit again. There's days where I'll only have 20 to 60 grams of fruit carbohydrates or less, and then there's times where I'll have over 150 to 200 grams of carbs from fruit. Which may seem like a lot to some people, but if the average individual knew how active I was, they'd understand. Fruit will give you massive amounts of energy, you guys. Massive. It is insane how much energy fruit can give you. But I've found that the fruit really only gives you that type of energy if you're not coupling it and eating it with a bunch of crap. Like many people will have like one piece of fruit a day, and they eat a bunch of other crap, right? And they think that, oh, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, guys, if you're eating one healthy thing every day among a bunch of other shit, you're really not going to get the benefit from it. So, like, it's insane how much energy I actually have. I can just keep running and running and running. Never in my life have I had this degree of endurance and stamina. When I was vegan, I didn't have stamina or endurance like this at all. So it's like my recovery time post-exercise is ridiculous. There were times in the past where I'd have to wait days or upwards of a week or longer in between runs when I would run a 15K, you name it. Now I can do it every single day. There's days where I have more energy than others, but the point is that I can do it every day. I run on an average 8 to 10 miles a night now. I was never really able to do that in the past. What I would end up doing is I would space out my runs, and when I did run, I would run these like just very long distances, and then I would recover for a prolonged period of time and then do it again. But now it's like 8 to 10 miles a day or more. There's times where I'll run over 15 miles barefoot in one night, you guys. And usually when I run like that, I'm also walking multiple miles. So I like to walk every day and I like to run every day. So I'm pretty fucking active. I sweat a lot. And I was never able to have this much energy in the past when I experimented with other diet systems. So again, through trial and error and experimentation, much experimentation, I now know what works best for me. It's insane. And it's so much fun to experiment with all these different fruits. There's so many varieties of apples that you can experiment with, you guys. And yes, I understand that a lot of the fruits are hybrids. They're not the original blueprint or design of nature. But again, you guys, we live in a synthetic world where unfortunately those things are those are truths. A lot of the fruits are hybrids. A lot of the vegetables are. A lot of the processed crap is laden with glyphosate and made from genetically engineered wheat. Like, it's really hard to avoid the hand of the machine, if you catch my drift. But when there's a will, there's a way. And even though these fruits are, for instance, many of them are hybrids, they're 100,000 times better for you than the processed refined carbohydrates in the crap, right? So again, my goal is to get to the point where all of the fruit that I eat, 90% of it or more, is fruit that's on my orchard. Because let's face it, fruit's not cheap either. It's expensive as hell. It's like $3.99 for red cherries per pound. The Rainier cherries, which I like a little bit more than the red ones, they're even more expensive than that. And it's like you don't get a whole lot of caloric content with fruit, right? The energy is coming from the carbohydrates in the fruit that's bound to structured water. But I mean, you could easily spend $15 or more on one bag of cherries. And if you're at a point in life where you can financially afford that, that's awesome. I nod my hat to you. I currently cannot do that. Occasionally I can. But like right now, I'm doing what I can. The majority of the fruit that I'm eating is mandarin oranges, apples, and primarily bananas, you guys, because bananas are the cheapest fruit on the market. I think pineapples are pretty cheap too. You can get them for about $2.50 a piece here in Virginia. And what I like about the pineapples is that they're not sold by weight. So if you look at the pineapples, usually they're not, sold by weight. They're all the same price. And you can find the biggest pineapples out of the lot and buy those. Shopping strategically, right? What is with all the fucking traffic today? Pineapples are a really, really strong energy source, and I love the fact that they contain bromelain. Bromelain acts like it's an enzyme, but it also has a very powerful anti-inflammatory effect on the system. Pineapple's one of the most delicious fruits ever, but again, it's a hybrid. So again, we do the best we can with what we have available to us while simultaneously doing our best to constantly evolve the system So we don't want to get stuck in stasis. We don't want to get too comfortable. We always want to augment or improve what we're doing, because that's like the epitome or the foundation of evolution. To not get stuck in stasis, to constantly move. We want to always be looking for ways to improve every little thing that we're doing in life. And we want to turn that into a belief system, a structure of which we structure the rest of our lives. That way you're constantly in movement, a healthy form of movement. A lot of us get stuck in one position and we get trapped in that stasis, that lack of movement. And if you look at nature, you guys, when things stop moving for the most part, that's when the decay comes in. Look at a river that gets dammed up. When the water stops moving, the fish start dying. There's a lack of oxygen now because the water isn't moving. The bugs come. It's a disaster. So we always want to have some degree of movement in our lives, as long as it's not unhealthy movement. And there's a ton of unhealthy movement here in the Maya. Like chasing things that we shouldn't be chasing. Again, we need to, at least in my opinion, turn our wants into our needs and our needs into our wants. That's one of the keys here, you guys. In order to obtain or do all this stuff, we want to turn our wants into our needs. Hear the turbo on that Ford Focus? Sounds awesome. Wants. If you turn your wants into your needs and your needs into your wants, that's a really powerful kind of foundation to stand on. A really powerful one. So on my orchard, I also envision in my mind's eye thousands of wildflowers, you guys, morning glories, Datura inoxii, the most beautiful Gothic flowers and colorful flowers in general. Kineolus black morning glories, heavenly blue morning glories, moonflowers. Beauty everywhere, you guys. So I make a lot of my own flower essences. I'm a huge fan of flower essences. But what I've found is making your own Bach flower essences is even stronger than buying the ones that other people have. So again, I've got sunflowers here, various different flowers that I've grown, echinacea, you name it, easy flowers to grow, so that I can then take the fresh flowers and make essences out of them that I can then ingest. A lot of people, when they hear the term flower essence, they think I'm referring to like essential oils. Flower essences are ingestible. Flower essences are a liquid solution that's preserved with usually alcohol, and this solution of water contains the energetic blueprint of the flower. So it's a what you're doing with a flower essence essentially is you're using a fresh flower to restructure a solution of water. And then when you consume small traces of these essences, you're taking in that energetic blueprint that's woven into the water structure, because water takes on the form of what it's in or what's in it. So you're taking in a solution of water that's been restructured with that flower's specific, very unique energetic blueprint. And people will tell you that flower essences are a subtle medicine. That's true if you're using flower essences that you buy. Because regardless of what people will tell you, a flower essence that's been purchased online, especially from these big companies, over a period of time, that it's not as strong anymore because it gets shipped, it's exposed to heat. You catch my drift. When you make a flower essence and you can bottle it yourself and you can keep it in the refrigerator, etc., when you've made the essence with your own flowers that you've grown, the byproduct or the end result is so much stronger than a store-bought essence. My essences that I make here are so strong that they alter my consciousness. Flowers are very, very powerful medicine, you guys. Very powerful. So again, on my orchard, I'll have thousands of flower essences. Thousands of flowers to make essences. I can see this vision of paradise in my mind's eye and in my heart so strongly. And I want to inspire you to find your own ideal version of life so that you can daydream about this and go about building it, you guys. Go about building it. I'm going to wrap this one up. Until next time, you guys, peace be with you all.